right where you are for today's edition of Devotions with Brother Aaron. I've entitled the devotion today, The Barracks Called Church. I wrote today's devotion back on November the 5th, 2018, just one day ahead of the midterm elections. To say the least, that election season had been a particularly mean-spirited one. And to tell you the truth, I was glad when it was over. And I sure hoped there wasn't a runoff for governor. I was just ready for it to be over. And I didn't want to hear or see another political commercial for a long, hey, did I say long time? As I have stated in previous devotions, the level of incivility to which America has risen or sunk is mind-boggling. There's no longer a sense of respect for our fellow human beings with whom we may disagree politically, religiously, or morally. Somewhere along the way, we lost our ability to have civil discourse with those who hold different opinions and to be able to disagree without being disagreeable. Civility has degraded to an us versus them proposition. Hatred is real, common sense has died, and the level of hypocrisy among our leaders is unbelievable. And this election cycle has certainly taken all of this hatred and incivility to a whole new level. I don't know about you, but I'm embarrassed by and ashamed of the way we've been acting. We're better than this. The question that begs an answer is, how did we get here? In my opinion, a great deal of the blame for the condition to which America finds itself today can be laid squarely at the feet of the church. Let me say that again. In my opinion, a great deal of the blame for the condition in which America finds itself today can be laid squarely at the feet of the church. There was a time, not that long ago, when the church in America stood for what was right and against what was wrong. Biblical truth was her mooring and morality was her compass. Morality was believed, taught, modeled, and expected. Biblical truth and morality produced the courage to take the tough moral stands. All of this, coupled with manners and common sense, was the expected norm of the day. Oh, but not so much anymore. The trouble began when the church started shifting its focus from winning the lost to Jesus, teaching absolute moral standards, and standing against sin in whatever form it manifested itself, and started preaching some perverted, socially acceptable form of the gospel. In so doing, the fight in which we were engaged shifted from outside the four walls of the church to inside. Michael Youssef said it this way: soldiers on the battlefield fight the enemy, while soldiers in the barracks fight each other. And this is exactly what happened. Outside, we were fighting Satan and the ills of sin and evil on every front. But when it came inside, we started fighting each other over things that don't make one iota of difference. The truth is that while mothers are slaughtering babies in their womb, divorce is running rampant, couples are cohabitating, the family unit is tattered, homosexuality is being touted as the norm, the Muslim faith and other false religions and cults are being accepted in mainstream America, addictions of all kinds are at epidemic levels, and there's a seething cauldron of evil boiling just beneath the surface. We are inside the walls of the church fighting amongst ourselves over some really important stuff. You know, stuff like the color of the new carpet, whether we sing contemporary worship songs from words on the wall or the TV screen, or traditional hymns from a hymnal, whether we have a choir or a praise team, whether the pastor preaches from the King James Version of the Bible or the New King James Version or some other version, whether he wears a suit and a tie or a golf shirt and khaki pants, when he preaches, and most importantly, his stance regarding Calvinism. That's the doctrine of predestination for those who do not understand the verbiage Calvinism. And while we're so engaged in all of this inside the church, outside, the world has been turned upside down by sin and is dying and going to hell in a handbasket. I'm old enough to remember when the conservative wing of the Georgia Baptist Convention had a split with the moderate wing. When it came to a head and the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship left and formed their own convention, one of the leaders stated, "Now that you conservatives no longer have us to fight with, it won't be long until you turn and start fighting and destroying each other." Sadly, he was a prophet, and church after church after church has done this very thing. Time has come for the church to shift the battle from inside her four walls back into the real world. For too long, the church has been distracted. It's time to refocus our time, talents, and energy onto the only battle worth fighting, the battles for the souls of humanity. Again, Michael Youssef said it best when he said, "Soldiers on the battlefield fight the enemy while soldiers in the barracks fight each other." My goodness, let's get out of the barracks called the church and back into the real battlefield, which is a lost and dying, sin-sick world. Lord, would you please help us, your church, to regain our spiritual footing and once again focus on the only thing that really matters, reaching men, women, boys, and girls with the life-altering good news that there is hope in you and that you are the only answer to all our problems. And I ask this in your name, amen.